Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And Terrence.
What's up?
All right, guys, we are back. This is episode 264, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. This is the fourth movie starring Eddie Murphy in the very famous role as Axel Foley. This is directed by Mark Malloy. And, of course, stars Eddie Murphy, this time Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Taylor Page join him. The log line here is Axel Foley returns to Beverly Hills after his daughter's life, including old pals John Taggart and Billy Rosewood working to uncover a conspiracy. Okay, just a couple of weeks ago, we did Bad Boys 3, and you guys talked a little bit about Bad Boys 4, which is another... At this point, like 30-year-old, that's a 30-year-old franchise, and this is a 40-year-old franchise. So I'll go to Terrence first. What were your thoughts on Beverly Hills Cop?
Well, when the trailer first came out, I'm like, this is a 40-year-old franchise. I can't imagine. Come on, why are we doing this? Watched it a couple days ago, and I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's rated R, so we got rated R Eddie Murphy. Not like 1980s rated R Eddie Murphy, but we got rated R Murphy. He's able to curse. So he was pretty funny. He's not as animated as he used to be because he's fucking 62 years old. So he can't really be as animated as he was. But this is just like an old school 80s action flick. Done in 2024. Everybody was good in it. The plot doesn't really matter. They never really matter. They're kind of dumb. I recently watched the first one. And it's just basically having the plot has to get him to Beverly Hills, right? That's it. And then shenanigans. And the plot did this. Yeah, I had fun. Action sequences were fun. I enjoyed this better than fucking Bad Boys 4. It's a better movie to me. Visually, not, but like as a movie, I think this is a better movie than Bad Boys for Life or whatever the fuck that last one was called. Ride or Die. What was it called? Ride or Die?
Ride or Die.
Yeah. This was fun. I had a good time with it. And that's what it was supposed to do. It accomplished its goal.
Okay.
That's it.
Micah, your thoughts?
I agree with Terrence. I agree with Terrence wholeheartedly. This movie's fine. It's an 80s movie in 2024, for all the pros and cons that gives you. But, like, it's fine. I thought Eddie Murphy was relatively funny. I thought, I thought that each of the characters were like they felt their age, right? But like in a good way, right? Like they're not hanging on like somebody else in a movie that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, right? Like, but he still felt like, he felt better than that third Beverly Hills Cop movie, right? That third Beverly Hills Cop movie was my first Beverly Hills Cop. And it wasn't
because that movie just not a good
funny.
movie.
It wasn't funny. He wasn't funny in it.
Literally never.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny. And I read that like, hey, why isn't this funny? Right? Because it was like directed by like John Landis or something like that, starring Eddie Murphy. Like, why isn't this shit funny? And the director was like, yeah, I tried to, he was like, yeah, the script is kind of weak, but like Eddie can like make it happen because he's funny. And Eddie Murphy came to him and was like, I think it's time for Axel Foley to grow up a bit. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, nah, yo, like that's not why we come into this movie, right? The plot is, I mean, the villain the second you see the villain,
Right.
but the movie knows that you know that, and the movie's like, so this guy's the bad guy, right? And he's like, yeah,
Eddie Murphy says that shit. He's like,
right,
come on,
he's the bad guy, right? Look, the movie was fine. I had a good time with it. it wasn't. I had very low expectations, and it cleared the bar. And honestly, if this movie could have came out in theaters and could have made a ton of money, it could have, because it's just funny enough that the common denominator will really enjoy it. And
it hits
the
that nostalgia button. 100%.
It hits the nostalgia. It has practical action scenes, right? Like a lot of practical action scenes. Like we get an answer to the question, what would happen if you just shot the rotor of a helicopter instead of the pilot, right? Shout out to Demetrius, who is prompt in corrections, right? And yeah, man, like I enjoyed it. Everybody played this. It felt like an 80s movie, from the music to the characters to the flimsy ass plot. I enjoyed it, man. I really did. It was fun.
Okay.
Go ahead and shit on it, you uppity nigga.
Here's the thing. 3 for 3. I was shocked I enjoyed it. Look, I had to watch it in two sessions. There's nothing against the movie. It just had other things to do. No, it works. It is a testament to, and again, I've not seen Bad Boys 4, right? So I can't speak on that, but I can speak on seeing Bad Boys 3. And this is how you do a nostalgia film many decades later, right? Like, this is how you do it. You don't try to reinvent the wheel, but you also don't make a stale movie either. The fact that Will Smith and and Martin Lawrence are like 10, maybe even slightly, I guess maybe about 10 years younger than Eddie Murphy, and
Martin is like 3 years younger.
Oh, okay.
Martin's 59 years old. Yeah.
Okay, so he's closer to Murphy's age. But they feel so much older because the plot in those movies doesn't account for their age, really, right? It's like, we're still gonna act like we're 20 years old. It's like, nah, but you're not, though. Like, come on, like, this is ridiculous. This movie, I think, does such a better job. And look, I don't think the movie is like amazing or anything, but it does work, right? I'm not, to save myself, I did not even bother seeing Beverly Hills Cop 3. I was like, that looks bad. I'm not going to see it. But it feels like if you did 1 and 2, and then this one's the third one that many years later, it works in that trilogy. I think it works actually pretty well. They respect the character's age. They do something that we talked about in Bad Boys 3 that Bad Boys didn't do. They gave the character an arc. They gave several characters an arc, which I appreciated. It hits the nostalgia buttons pretty goddamn well. I mean, they're very lucky that they have Billy Rosewood and John Taggart. Like, those actors are still alive, especially the guy who plays Taggart, because he's 100 million years old.
He
was old in the fucking first one.
No, he was. I looked up how old he was in the first one. He was 38.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
38-year-old. They convinced people that he was Gerald Ford in the first movie.
I looked up because I'm like, yo, how old is this nigga? Because I watched it a couple weeks ago. I'm like, how old is he? And I looked him up. He was like born in 1947 or something like that. And I'm like, he's 38? Yo, niggas look old as shit back in the day, though. Like, it's crazy.
Skin care was not a thing. Like, do yourself a favor if you've never done it. Look up the actors' ages on the show Cheers when that show was out.
Yeah.
They were like 27 years old. It's like, what? These were 45-year-old men. So they do a good job of hitting the nostalgia button in a good way. It's basically 90% an 80s soundtrack, which I thought was kind of interesting. They really lean on the song Axel F like a lot, maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
I was like,
a little bit.
We got it.
Calm down.
But yeah, the plot is it's there, if you want to call it that. I mean, it's barely there. The other actors are fine. Like, they all kind of fit in their place. Taylor Page and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, they kind of have the arc that I assume that they would have. They let Axel be older, right? Like, he can't do all the things he could do. He can't be this like convincing goofball character in every scenario. Like when he goes to the hotel at one point, he's gonna like play it up so he can try to get a free room. He's like, you know what, forget it. Like, here's my credit card. Like, yeah, dude, you're in your 60s, right? So they do a good job with that. It respects enough of the original material, but also forges its own thing. So yeah, this is how you do these type of movies. And by the way, it does something that I really appreciated when you do comedies from these kind of eras, with like the older guy dealing with young people. They stayed away from like the really stupid, I don't get people bullshit. Like I pulled up the 2019 Shaft movie. That's the second Shaft, like Shaft 2000. That was like the sequel to it. He spent a lot of time in that one with his son, the guy who plays A-Train, incidentally, from The Boys. He spends a lot of time like, oh, you can't hit women, Dad. He's like, well, she shot at me. You talk about equal rights. Oh, young people are crazy. And it was like, all right. And it's like a lot of that, and you know, it's a lot of like, oh, you sure you're not gay, son? Because you care about your feelings. I was like, all right, we get it. He's old, he's young. They're from two generations, right? Like, we understand that. This movie does a good job of avoiding that because that's a very lame trope, and I cannot stand it. So I was happy to see they actually just made him a real person as much as they could. So yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty fun. So there you go.
I'm shocked.
Like we were all, I was like, wow, I'm really enjoying this fucking movie.
Yo,
I can't believe they pulled it off. I told you when we recorded fucking a couple days ago. I'm like, I didn't see any reviews. I had no idea what anyone had to say about the movie.
So the reason I said you definitely still have the opinion that they had, which was it hits on the nostalgia button like pretty heavily, and it does. Like it to me, that's like almost all the titles all the titles for the reviews were pretty much hitting on that point. Some were saying, "Oh, it doesn't come up with any new ideas." I'm like,
it doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to. Right. It's a glorified 80s movie. So, yeah, but it does it. I think hitting the nostalgia button is not a negative for this. I think that's what it's supposed to do. And yeah, I agree with you, Micah. It should have come out in theaters. Like, I don't know what the budget was for this, but it couldn't have been that high. And yeah,
150. No, it was pretty high. It was 150.
Damn. Where the fuck did it go?
Paychecks, my nigga. Paychecks.
Yes, Eddie Murphy's paycheck was pretty goddamn big. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Paul Reiser was getting $20 million for this.
Yeah.
They're not hooking Balki Bartakamus up with $10 million. I mean, maybe they did. I don't know. All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
He had to have made a fucking mint on this. So the movie opens with Axel Foley just driving through Detroit, and apparently Detroit looks exactly the same as it did in the 1980s. I haven't been to Detroit in a very long time, but I assume this is accurate.
He's got the same car from the first movie, but it's just it's not beat up. That's a callback from the first movie.
Oh, I haven't seen the first movie in, good Lord, I don't know, 15 years, maybe. So he ends up going to a hockey game with another cop, and the cop is like, "Oh, it's so great, you coming along with me. That's awesome. You're one of my idols and all this other stuff. I'm glad you were just one to come and hang out." And meanwhile, Axel Foley is just noticing that the hockey game is about to get robbed, and so he's like, that's the only reason why he basically came, was kind of looking into this case. And so because he's like trying to like not get himself in trouble, he's basically pushing this other cop, like, you make the call this in, and we just happen to find it. Like, it's just happenstance. And you get a kind of a joke where the guy thought, oh, maybe he doesn't really like hockey because he's black. And he was like, no, there's a black hockey Negro league and all this other shit. It's like, no, I love hockey and it's in my blood and all this other stuff. And the guy's like, oh, I feel really bad. Sorry. He's like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. But I'm pretty sure there actually was a Negro hockey league, which is kind of funny also. But I don't know if they actually knew that. But yeah, so then it starts off with them going after these guys who are robbing this hockey game. And the action sequence is pretty good. I didn't mind it. It's not bad.
When they're executing this plan, and Axel goes into the locker room and bullshits his way, through. That gives you a really good indication of, from the beginning, of, this ain't coming to America, right? Like this, like we learned from that big ass mistake. And the Axel Foley character, Eddie Murphy is not, he's not like a thespian, you know what I mean? But Axel Foley feels like Eddie Murphy, the person. More than, and he looks like he's having a ball, like playing this character. Oh, yeah. And I think it's because he's so close to, it's so close to his normal, like, personality that it really works, man. And he's coming in there, and as soon as he dropped the N-word, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, Eddie, pay attention now.
I didn't realize
Fuck your kids, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was rated R going into this, and then I was like, oh, okay, like the language was matching up with what I would like to see, and then like the violence, it was like, it's a lot of headshots in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of people get shot.
Yeah, when I heard him cursing, I'm like, okay, so let's see where we go from here, because this is what I've been waiting for the last 30 years. Because you've been doing fucking PG-13 movies forever, and they haven't been very good. They've all been pretty fucking terrible, honestly. But yeah, that's why this works, because they let him be himself. Honestly,
do you think he's got not necessarily? I don't necessarily need any more of these movies. Like I think. Mm-hmm. I think 4 is enough, and it's not not that I didn't enjoy it, but I just don't like. I don't want them to run this into the ground, and it's like, all right, you're like 100 years old, still trying to jump fences. But do you think he can make a sort of a comeback with more, not necessarily action comedies, but just straight up comedies now? After seeing this,
yeah, I think so. I mean, You People, that was just a bad movie. And I think that was all rated also. With good scripts, yeah, absolutely. He doesn't, like you said, doesn't have to be action. He can do, like, he's still funny. Like, he proves to me that he's still funny. Like, he just being himself, he's still fucking funny. So, yes, he can. It just depends on the material. Stop doing kid movies. Oh, your kids are old. Your kids are in this movie, actually. He got, 2 of his kids makes cameos.
Yeah. Oh, really? All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
My one question is, do you think he can do stand-up again? I don't think so.
I mean, the problem is, like, what are you gonna like?
Yeah, what is a 62-year-old going to talk about that hasn't done a stand-up special in 40 years?
I don't need it. Like, I stick to this. I don't need it. Stand-up comedy is hard, yo. Like, that's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different ballgame.
Especially if he hasn't been doing it. Like Jerry Seinfeld, he just turned 70 this year, but he's just constantly selling out shows. Yeah. He never stopped doing it, right? Like, Eddie Murphy literally hasn't done it in like 37 years. It's fucking a long time, dude. It's, I don't know. I'd like to see him try, but I don't know what that material would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he can curse and all that other stuff. That's great.
Yeah.
What are do I really need to hear Eddie Murphy's views? Do I need to hear like a 62-year-old man's views on the topics of today? I feel like I don't. Like, I feel like I really don't want to know. Like, just I don't think I want to know. Like, let's just leave your stuff in the past. Just keep doing movies. I'm fine with that. But I think he's doing another Shrek movie and stuff like that. So, and I think Donkey from Shrek is getting a spinoff or something. I saw a blurb about that. So I think he's got plenty of shit coming. So we'll see. Yeah, this action sequence is not bad. Driving a bulldozer or dump truck with a like a bulldozer front.
A plow.
Plow.
Thank you.
A plow truck. Yeah.
Motherfucker never work a day in his life.
Outside?
Sitting behind keyboards.
It was 102 degrees outside today.
whatever. Get out of here.
Nigga, you live on the equator, so whatever. Like, I know it's hot. I know it's hot over there.
1,000 degrees.
Oh my goodness! I
Five
can
down.
imagine.
Yeah. So he drove a plow, as you guys call it. Weird. And he just ran into the back of a dude on one of these quad bikes. Good. That is a solid way to take them down. And he ran into a lot of cars, which should be probably a decent problem.
I appreciate the action in this movie, not just from a practical sense, but from a practical sense, and with Bad Boys, I like that. I like Bad Boys 3, Bad Boys 4. They're superheroes, yo. Like they're superheroes.
Yeah.
They're getting shot 8-9 times, coming back from death, and and they're getting shot with comically large guns. You know what I mean? Like you got to beat the game a couple times to get that gun. You know what I mean? And it's just
like the hand cannon from Resident Evil and shit.
Right, all right, come on, yo. Like the action in this is practical, and it is. I don't want to say realistic, but this guy's in his 60s, yo. Like he's doing what some guy in his 60s would be doing, right?
Right.
Causing a bunch of
property damage,
right? He's not fucking taking. He's not taking bullets and getting up. Sitting over in the corner to heal and then getting up. You know what I mean? Like doing some Max Payne shit. Like it's fun, man. I dig it.
I mean, again, respecting the age of the characters and where they are in their lives in general goes a long way to making the story feel reasonable. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, but Axel Foley was never a super cop. Like, he was just really smart.
He was just really quick on his feet. Yeah,
he wasn't just like taking bullets to the ass and just be like, let's just keep going. That's just not who that character was. And it's dumb. It would be dumb to portray him like that all of a sudden, too. It's like, this is very fucking weird. We don't need to do that.
But my question, much like the Bad Boys review, this nigga's 62 years old. Why is he still a cop?
Yeah,
Why is he still a detective? Why is he still a detective, yo? I think he became a detective in 1980. Like, come on, man. It's in 2024.
Why is this guy not the chief? Like, come on. Like,
his partner became the chief.
Right. Like, it's like, here's a picture of me and you together. Like, but why did you progress so much and I didn't go anywhere?
Why am I still in the streets, nigga? In the streets for fucking 40 years, for 44 years. Like, what's wrong with me? I don't know. That's just silly to me. I don't understand.
It's but it's a Top Gun scenario too. Like Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Like you should right now. You should be retired as a colonel. Like, oh, like you're just like a barely.
Yeah, right. Ed Harris is like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dog? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know.
I just like fucking shit up. Like that's just what I do. Next. Yeah, it is kind of funny. So then we meet. We head over to Beverly Hills. And we meet what turns out to be Eddie Murphy's daughter, or Axel Foley's daughter, Jane Saunders, which that name gets made fun of pretty well by Axel Foley later on in the movie, which is great. And she's a high-powered lawyer, and she's helping. She's taking the case of this one dude who clearly worked for like a cartel or something like that. And he looks like he's gotten his ass beat several times in jail. And I guess he's being accused of killing somebody.
He's accused of killing a cop.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
And so she's defending him. And when she like goes to see him, and then she leaves the jail, and she goes and gets in her car. And when she gets in her car, these dudes fucking roll up on her in masks, and they hook the front of her car up to a tow truck, and then they push her because she's in a parking garage, and then they push her car out of like off the floor of the parking garage, and luckily it's tied to like this winch on this tow truck, and so it's just dangling there, and they're like, you need to drop the case, and they scare her to death. That's fucked up. That's a fucked up thing.
Yeah, she's like fucking 4 stories up. Like, that's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that before. That was original. I've never seen that in a movie before.
That's certainly a unique way of threatening somebody.
Yeah, I'd be like, you know what? You got it. You right.
You could have just killed her. Like you didn't really even need to threaten her at that point. Just cut the line. Like, and now he doesn't have a lawyer. Next. That's the most unrealistic thing about this movie, is that the cartel would be like, well, let's see what happens. Nah, that's not really how they operate. And then who goes to see her? Billy, from obviously the first lethal, not Lethal Weapon. Beverly Hills
48 Hours.
Another movie another franchise that for some reason they're trying to make more of. So Billy Rosewood goes to see her, played by Judge Reinhold, and he's like,
Is something wrong with Judge Reinhold?
I mean,
How do you
Physically?
Reinhold
Like physically?
I don't think so. He's been pretty much the same for like his entire career, right?
yeah.
Okay. There was just something about him that, like
acting wise. What how do you mean?
Like, is he sick?
I don't think so. He's just like 67 years old, and he's white.
Yeah, I mean,
Eddie Murphy doesn't.
it,
He's
right?
62. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's what I mean, yo. Like,
Eddie Murphy looks better than everyone else in the
He said it in the movie. He's like, you look terrible, man.
This guy, me and him are the same age. Yeah, Paul Reiser looks old as fuck. No, I think Terrence is right. They're just white. Like, I think that's all it is.
God
Also, I
damn,
think that's
what it is, man.
in general has more money, so he can afford to keep himself in better shape and better looking. But yeah, he looks amazing compared to everyone else in this movie. It's fucking bizarre. So yeah, Billy is concerned about her safety. So obviously, between meeting Billy and John Taggart, he basically they're treated like his daughter's uncles. Like, hey, I'm not in Beverly Hills. Keep an eye on my daughter, type of shit.
Yeah, they basically have more of a relationship with her than Axel does, because they're estranged.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting. Like, the reasoning behind it is that basically Axel told, like, basically him and his wife got divorced, and they like moved out there, and he didn't come with them. He was just like, nah, I'm just gonna stay in Detroit, because the city of Detroit needs me, even though apparently all the big action is out in Beverly.
Doing a poor job, nigga. Like, what are you?
Yeah, I'm not in my family to be a cop in a different city. Like, you be a cop over there.
I wonder what his salary is like, because cop salaries increase every year that they stay on the force.
Sure.
And they get a lot of overtime.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'd still rather be a cop in Beverly Hills than a cop in Detroit.
Yeah, they get paid more. They do. I actually looked up cop salaries after watching the movie, because I'm like, this nigga's been a cop for 50 years. How much could he possibly be making at this point?
right. And didn't want to.
And again, I don't know. I know in Baltimore, like, each year you're on the force, you get like a $2,000, $3,000 increase in your base pay.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah, it's very good. I looked up somebody that I went to school with, their salary. And they get overtime and shit like that. He pulled in like $180,000 one year.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Money for beating up minorities, or is that just like a part of their base pay?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a bonus, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. You get to boot rich corporations. Is that where you get the money? Yeah, I'm not a fan of cops. Anyway,
neither am I. But I just
$180,000 a year to be a cop is insane. Look, I ain't doing it. So,
I mean,
yeah,
all the more reason.
He wasn't like a detective or anything like that. He was just like a street cop.
a beat
But
cop?
he was doing like, no. When you join the force, regardless of what position you're in, yeah, you get like a $2,000 increase every year.
I mean, here's the thing. It can potentially be a very dangerous job.
Yeah, you can get shot in the head and die.
I'm not begrudging somebody for being a cop. I'm just saying I don't like y'all. Like, that's all I'm saying.
I'm right there with you. You know, I don't trust them niggas.
Look, it's all the more reason to not be like deferential to them, right? Like,
Yeah, you're rich.
like, like, oh, hey, do you want me to buy you a coffee? No, buy your own goddamn coffee.
What the fuck? Asshole, you made $180,000 a year. You ain't broke.
Shit.
Yeah, I saw We Own the City. You're out there trying to have sex with midgets at strip clubs and all sorts of crazy shit. Get out of here. I assume that's what all.
Oh shit.
So he gets actually gets a call from Billy Rosewood, and Billy's like, "Look, your daughter's in trouble. They hung your daughter outside of a fucking parking garage. Like, this shit is crazy." And he's like, "All right, like, you should have said that shit in the beginning. Like, nigga, I'm on my way." And so Billy is sort of tracking the case as well. He goes out to the docks to figure out what's potentially going on. In the 80s, all the bad things happened at the docks.
Yeah,
because like,
why not?
The sort of final big thing that happens, I believe it's in the first one, also happens at the docks. Like, it's always at the docks. Like that was in the 80s. Like, that was the worst place you could be. And so when Billy goes to investigate the dangerous docks, somebody pulls an automatic rifle or some shit on him, and I guess it's one of the potential bad guys, and so they grab him up. To show a contrast as far as weather, Axel goes to the airport, and Paul Reiser's character drops him off, and Axel takes time to talk to the black woman there and says, "Look how much older this white man looks than me. Him and I are the same age." And so he gets on a plane, and he heads to sunny California, and he ends up in Beverly Hills. So snowing in Detroit, it's very nice in LA. So there you go, contrast. Yeah, and then it's just kind of like, hey, remember Beverly Hills? It's a little bit newer now, but everybody's still a bunch of rich dickheads. So. And then you see a white woman driving a Rolls Royce convertible with the license plate prenup.
I mean, if that was the case, well, you know what? I guess I shouldn't presume, but like, shouldn't it be no prenup?
Yeah,
because if that's what I said, that's why I said maybe I shouldn't presume.
Yeah.
But like, why would you be like, hey, I got this because I didn't like.
Yeah, it would make more sense to say no prenup being the license plate.
Yeah, like, did she get it from her rich husband? But if you did, then you know what? This is
the prenup didn't work.
Right. I'm doing a quiet place. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be thinking about shit.
Turn your goddamn or unless maybe she's a divorce lawyer and like, you know, that's how she gets her money. But I'm gonna look at
I'm gonna assume the negative because it's a white woman.
Yeah, I'm gonna she took this nigga for all he was worth. And you know what? Maybe he deserved it. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just glad they're not procreating anymore. I'm just being a dick for no reason. We literally see people with fake butts. We see people feeding food to their dogs. White people have really weird habits.
With chopsticks. Like, what the fuck?
We see a...
that was an Asian woman, by the way. That wasn't a white woman.
Oh, well, you know, it takes all...
She looked Asian from the side. I can't tell. Maybe I'm being a bigot. No, that's an Asian woman. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, of course. She's using chopsticks. Duh.
So the 80s is the in American movies by far.
Of course. Yeah, this is 80s as fuck.
But she does though, which is wild. She's probably not even at an Asian restaurant. We see a white woman being filmed with by I don't know her son. I guess she's an influencer. She looks annoying. There's robot delivery devices. There's people with fake butts wearing little shorts. Yeah, it's very Hollywood. Excuse me, very Beverly Hills. We even see a Muslim woman wearing a full burqa, but it's a Louis Vuitton burqa, which is fucking hilarious to me. That reminds me of my time when my wife and I went to London a number of years ago. Walked in this like very rich area, and it was a lot of Muslim women, and they're all clearly like super fucking rich. They're not wearing burqas, but wearing face coverings, and like hijabs, and all of them are clearly wearing like the most high end makeup and all this other shit. But it's like, oh, but I'm being modest. I'm like, yo, you're wearing like $20,000 worth of jewels and shit like that. Like it was just like the irony of it all. It's like, okay, this is all bullshit. You know that, right? God can see you. I think you believe that. Yeah, I guess you got it. That's how it works. So Axel goes to see Billy Rosewood. He notices that his apartment or his office has been broken into because he's a private investigator. And he sees two giant fucking meathead guys going through all this shit. And so Axel does what he's supposed to do, which is he's quick on his feet and he just like bullshits them and pretends like he's in the crew with them. So yeah, I mean, again, Eddie Murphy is very, very good at these kind of scenes. I don't know how much of it is actually written and how much of it is totally improv for him.
It doesn't feel like a lot of it.
I can't. These scenes have got to be. They got to be ad lib. It's just like the outline of like, hey, this is the situation. Go ahead, just do what you do, and he's still good at it.
I would hope so because it feels very natural for him.
Yeah.
Like there's a quick scene later that I know is improv because I saw an article with it about it. With this scene with him and his daughter, all that was improv, and it felt like it. So like you could tell when he's when he's just kind of riffing, usually because nobody else is talking, right?
I mean, the dude is he has a natural affinity for that type of comedy. Like he's just really fast, which is
he's still very charming. And for a while, I didn't think he was because, he was doing shit like Mr. Church and, he had just had kids and he was like, I want my kids to be able to see my movies and shit. Like, kids grow up, nigga. Like, like, let them look at your fucking older movies, man. Let them look at your movies when you older, man.
Yeah.
But,
dude, I'll see you in 20 years.
Right.
Yeah. Then the henchman and a third guy comes in and they realize like Axel is totally bullshitting them, and so he then decides, you know what, to get out of this, I'm going to spray them in the face with a fire extinguisher. Solid choice. And then he escapes, steals like a meter maid's little truck. The meter maid, a black woman, sprays him directly in the face with mace. Ow! And it's a very silly scene, sort of silly action sequence because here's these big fucking brutish guys chasing him down the street, and he's in a meter maid like little truck. Like it's just,
he's in a Cushman, yo. Like he's rolling around. He's rolling around like this is like the second chase scene in this movie. Mm-hmm. And it's this is like his version of slapstick.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It works on me. Like seeing all these uppity people like getting all pissed. Like this is essentially just like a fish out of water story, and it's one of the oldest types of stories in the book. But it works, yo. It works. And
simplicity of it. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it got the Pointer Sisters is playing in the background, the Neutron Dance song. Again, all nostalgia.
Yeah. And then his little truck gets pushed over, and then a bunch of Asian people with cell phones run over to film it. Yeah, and then he gets arrested by the Beverly Hills police, and I think they put him.
One of those is his daughter.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the black one. his
The black one is
I actually see what they're. I recognize one of them is in fact black. Yes, she looks nothing like him. She probably looks like his ex-wife, who was really, really attractive. So, yeah,
this was another improv scene where it's like I'm more embarrassed to be arrested by the Fisher Price cops. It's like y'all look like the Lego police.
Yeah,
in this little ass car.
Yeah, driving a BMW i3 is fucking hilarious. Like that paddy wagon, my nigga. Like that shit is silly. You rock. So after he gets arrested, he gets brought to the station and he meets Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. What is his name? Detective Bobby Abbott. And I hate to be a dick. His career has really fallen off.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah. Like, does it feel like that, or am I being? When was
the last thing he was in? Let me see his film.
I mean, he's working with Eddie Murphy. You know.
Yeah, in a Netflix movie. Like in a Netflix.
He was in Glass Onion.
He was in Glass Onion. Pinocchio. Didn't Pinocchio win an Oscar? He played Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio.
I did.
Wait, what Pinocchio was this?
Yeah, I've never heard of this Pinocchio movie.
What the fuck is this? I don't know.
Yeah,
this is not the one. This is not the one that won the Oscar. That was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
See,
Trial of Chicago 7 was pretty good. I don't know. Oh, Project Power was him and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah,
that was a Netflix movie.
This nigga's career is looking like a sine wave right now. You know?
Prior to that, he was in Knives Out. You know. Okay.
And then before that, he was in 7500, which is
what is that?
That's the airplane movie he was in. He was a pilot, and his plane got hijacked.
I don't know that movie.
Yeah, I'm saying, like he was in Inception, he was in Looper, he was in 50-50, he was in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, and then what happened? What happened? Like, it's really weird. So.
Yeah, he was in Star Wars. He was in Last Jedi, which is a plus, which is a peak for me, and then 7500, which I'm assuming is a valley, and then Knives Out, which is a peak, and then Project Power, which is a valley, and then the Trial of the Chicago 7, which is a peak, and then Pinocchio, a valley, and then the next Glass Onion was a peak, and now we just kind of into a valley.
Hold on. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna add a little bit of context. I love Knives Out and I love Glass Onion, but this nigga was a voice in those movies, yo. He wasn't even in the movies as a person. Yo. Knives Out. He was the voice.
The hourly dong voice. Right. That's what it says.
Right. Yo, on your resume, it said you played hourly dong. Yo. Like that. I think the kids will that point. So no, I'm not gonna.
Oh shit!
It'd be added to the sine wave in a positive manner. I don't know. I think. Where did it go wrong for him? Was it Project Power?
No, it was before that. It was way before that.
I don't even know what the fuck 7500 is. I have no idea what that movie is.
I remember seeing the trailer for that. Nah, yo, this is not good for him. He's in poker.
He's fine.
He's in one episode of it. All right. I need people to put some more respect on his name because that dude's a good actor, and he's good in this. By the way, I don't think he's bad in this. It's just kind of funny to see his star was like super rising, and then kind of like he played hourly.
What did he start in? What was that? Third Rock from the Sun? Was that him?
Yes, I believe
that was the show he was in. Yeah,
he was the youngest character. Yeah, so Detective Bobby Abbott, he's basically like, yo, I got your file here. This shit is crazy. Shit like reads like a movie. Yeah,
he said something about like, ooh, 94, not your finest hour.
Yeah. Right. Look, I'm a big fan of when movies are self-referential. They're like, nah, this is a piece of shit. Like, we ain't gonna talk about
Yeah, self-referential and self-deprecating, yo. Like,
Yeah.
you know this movie was bad, yo. Like, who are we kidding?
Like, and meanwhile, the director of that movie was like, hey, yo, like, I'm right here. Like, yo, come on. Why you got to mention shit? So, yeah. And look, again, like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is another, like, he's a charming actor, right? So it's kind of, their rapport is very good. And he plays this sort of character of like, oh, were you trying to hurt my feelings by, like, being the old guy who's, like, questioning my manhood? Like, yeah, that's just not going to work on me. Which I appreciated. Like, we're not going to do the old guy, chastises the young guy for not being tough enough type of bullshit. It's like, yeah, I don't really give a shit about that. Like, go fuck yourself.
It's like they watched those latest Bad Boy movies and was like, yeah, we're going to do the opposite of that.
Yeah, and Shaft.
Yeah, and I caught on that. I caught onto that pretty quickly. I'm like, oh, so it's just like one or two lines. It's like, relax, nigga. Like, You're older. So the fuck what? It's like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Calm down.
Yeah.
Let's move
on. I'm happy to see that they were smart enough to kind of dodge those bullets, because I think that can do real damage to these movies, whether they realize it or not. So at that point, Axel goes to see John Taggart, his old buddy, who is now the chief of police, and we meet Kevin Bacon's character, clearly the villain. I think his name is Steve Villain or something like that. Captain Cad Grant, which definitely sounds like a villain name. Look, I don't know what Kevin Bacon's future plans are, but if they ever decide to do a movie about Joe Biden's life, Kevin Bacon seems like he could play Joe Biden pretty well. He has the way he talks and moves his head is like very similar. I was like, yeah, all right. Like that works. Like here's your future job, buddy. You need to sound a whole lot older. But yeah, Kevin Bacon, another good actor, has been in, I don't know, 1 million fucking movies at this point. Who's obviously the villain. We see Jane Saunders, Axel Foley's daughter. She comes in and talks to Bobby. It is clear that they have a history. Lucky him. He seems to be, shooting down, but whatever. That's just my personal opinion. But they clearly still have a little bit of something for each other. So that's, again, good for him. So she doesn't have a very good relationship with her father. She gets him out, and he's like, look, yeah, we're estranged. Like, let's fix it. Come on, And she's like, nah.
He asks, have you do that intercourse? It's like,
yo, straight up.
I thought she was funny.
Yeah. I would talk to my daughter like that when she's that age, but I'd rather just beat the man to death. How about that? Than to ever know.
Very counterproductive.
Yes, it is. It is. That's what happens when you have to.
Yeah. What are you jealous?
So you're the old. Like, what's going on? You're the old man. So you'd be the old man in this situation.
Yeah. No, I would take a Shaft 2019 approach. I don't like young kids being around doing shit. No, I don't want to hear about it. It's fine. Have fun. Be respectful. So they go. Axel and his daughter. They go sort of on this wild goose chase to try to track down information about the people who were after him and the other people potentially involved in trying to hurt his daughter and all this other shit, right? And they go to this lot. They find this car that's, it's got the windows all cracked out because that's apparently where this murder happened, where her client, I guess, potentially killed this cop, I think. And so I'm a little flimsy on it because the plot is a little flimsy, like very. And so we get this whole idea of like Axel finds a camera and he's like, oh, did you know there was a camera in the car? And they're like, oh my God, no one else knew this. It's like, yes, I'm very smart. I'm the smartest cop because I'm from Detroit. And
he's been on the force for 45 years. He's seen everything. He's seen everything at this point.
Yeah. He asks her, he says, oh, I think we're being tracked. And he asks her, does she have one of those, quote, lady mirrors? And she does not. but he uses his phone that has a HD camera in it instead, and realizes that somebody had put a tracker on the bottom of her car. So he takes that tracker and puts it on the back of a school bus, and then they drive away. And so then they use the school bus as a way to try to figure out who is tracking them. Wow. Again, plots are very thin. Like that's the thing about these movies. It's very thin. It's just the comedy beat is really the goal. So from there, you see the two of them. They kind of notice that, oh, here comes this black Lincoln Navigator, and that turns out to be the guys that were chasing him the other day. So then they start trailing them as the idiots start trailing a school bus.
Yeah, we're gonna breeze through some of this because like this plot is a little easy breezy.
Yeah. Then as my hair is on the sides here, so yeah, go ahead.
He's trying to connect with his daughter, right? Like I think we need to kind of focus on some of the character beats.
Sure.
And because I hate when movies do this, right? Like, and this is one of my knocks to the movie. Like the daughter doesn't really have much to do. She's kind of, you know, a MacGuffin, but like a personal one for Eddie Murphy. You know, she's borderline, like she's not fridged, but like if she died, that would be the fridging. You know, she is that type of character, right? He goes out there because he's worried about her, and you know, he reveals that he's been divorced from her mom for the past 30 years. Like, does anybody even remember that he kind of hooked up with Teresa Randall? And like they introduced this character, and this character has the burden of like, you got to really like this character because the movie is telling you that, you know, these two have a relationship that you've never seen before. I think the actor Taylor Page, I think she's fine in it. I just think she's written a little weak. I think she's doing the best with what she is given, but it's a little weak.
It ain't much.
Yeah, it's not much there. Like they try, right? Like there's one scene of Eddie Murphy trying to bullshit his way into this hotel, and this guy is stonewalling him, and she comes in and she shows that she's got, you know, the Foley bullshitting gene, right? Trying, you know, and it works, right? Because like, you know, she's a confident black woman. Who gonna say no to that, right?
Not me.
I mean, I'm not. I ain't saying that. And look, they go up and they confront. Almost called him Matt Damon. They confront Kevin Bacon. Those are two wildly different people.
Yes.
They confront Kevin Bacon, and they're like, "Look, bro, like you're the villain, and we know you're the villain, and we're gonna stop." And Kevin Bacon's like, "No, you're not." It's like, you ain't gonna do shit. You ain't gonna do shit, nigga. I look. I'm trying to stop a cop killer. You a cop. Your daughter is defending a cop killer. This what you teaching your daughter? You're supposed to be one of us. Like, nigga, no, yo. Like, that's my daughter, bitch. Like, the fuck you think I'm gonna join you, knowing that you the villain? And my daughter standing right here, like, get out of here.
That's how crazy the thin blue line is. They're like, yo, fuck y'all. Like, she's
right. Like, fuck your kids.
Yo, $180,000 a year, yo, 2% increase every year. You try to ride or not? Stop being a bitch.
Like, if he was getting a $2,000 raise every year, and his salary probably started at like $25,000 back in 1980, what is he sitting at now? I mean, $80,000.
Yeah, but
44 years.
they'd have to give him a bit of a bump up, like at a certain point. You can't just.
I would hope so. I really hope this nigga's making 6 figures after 45 years of service.
$45,000. He's been on the force for a half a fucking century. Pittance. That ain't right. Help Eddie out. Shit is fucked up.
He was able to afford that hotel room.
Yeah, fuck that. I'd have been like, where's the local hostel, yo? I'm not spending $900 a night. That's a whole ass plane ticket. It's a whole plane.
That's nuts.
No. Fuck out of here.
So the actual MacGuffin in this movie is an SD card containing evidence of that grants that evil cop Kevin Bacon, that Hollow Man needs
I love that.
in order to secure his, if that's the evidence, right? Like if he has it, then he's in the clear, right? So now it's a race to see who can find this evidence. Let's see. They discover from an address left behind from Billy. They discover an address left behind from Billy is the location of a house purchased by Kevin Bacon and his men, used as a cartel money laundering corporation. And so I don't know if I skipped certain parts of this. Is there?
Fine. It's fine.
Yeah. So we get to another major.
Have we described the actual plot so far? Like what they need the SD card for? Did you already say what it was for? The guy that the guy that she's supposed to be representing is accused of killing a cop. He was in the car when the cop was murdered. The SD card shows that he didn't do it. That's why they need to get the card.
Yes.
And Cade, and they both of it was they have to get the card because it showed he didn't do it. It puts him in it proves that Cade is a criminal, and it proves that the other guy is innocent. So that's pretty much it.
Yes.
That's it. That's the plot. And now they got to get the SD card, and Eddie Murphy has to reconnect with his daughter. Right. Shenanigans.
Yeah, this is a dad movie with like people's lives at stake.
I mean, so a dad movie then.
Yeah. So they have to. So they think they found the location of they're going to investigate this house that Grant purchased to see if they can find the SD card. So in order to do that, because this is like a cartel house, right? It's like a McMansion, right? Like it's super duper expensive, right? And Eddie Murphy needs to enlist the help of his friend, Serge, played by, as my wife called him, Balky. It was like, it's Balky. It was like, yeah. His name's Bronson Pinchot, but yeah, it's Balky. I get it.
Wrong. Go ahead. That nigga's Balky. He Balky forever.
Balky. Did she know? He kind of is. Did she know the name of the show?
Oh, of course.
Or did she just know Balky?
She just knew Balky. She didn't even know his last name because nobody just says Balky, right? We say Balky Bartok.
Yeah, you got to say the full. You got to say the full name.
You have to say it.
It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing.
Yeah. Nobody's just like you on a first name basis with Balky Bartakamus. Get the fuck out of here. You don't know the dance of joy. Fuck out of here.
There's like 90%.
Yeah, we hold the shit. God damn.
We real. Hey, young people, did you know that Family Matters was a spinoff of Perfect Strangers starring Balky Bartakamus and Larry Appleton?
Larry Appleton. Yo, that show was awesome. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I
like that show.
I love it. Why is that not on streaming? I feel like it should be. I'm sure Bronson Balky would appreciate it. This house, by the way, look, I've watched a lot of HGTV as I'm a married man, and it is a requirement. This house is gaudy as fuck, and I hate it. I hate every bit of it.
This scene is actually pretty goddamn funny though.
It's pretty good.
Woman fucking the woman showing him the house. She's like fucking ridiculous.
She's ridiculous. Oh, you're the dad? Hello, daddy. Like she was just fucking so silly, yo. I've seen her in that actress in a number of things. She's pretty good. She's a good comedic actress. And yeah, it's just really ridiculous. The entire house is just gaudy and disgusting, and I'm sure that's someone's real house. And you shouldn't live there. You should get a new person to direct it. It's fucking trash.
Wait, we skipped over a part, didn't we? Oh,
Perhaps we did, but I do want to point something out. At one point, when they're at the house, and Axel is like, "Yes, this is my daughter and her little man, her husband." And he was like, "Oh, did you tell him that you're pregnant?" And he's like, "Oh my God, you're pregnant!" And Axel goes, "Yeah." What did he say? He says, "Yeah, grandpapa." And Falky's like, "What about grandpappy?" And he was like, "No, grandpapa. I don't like the way that sounds." Yes, because pappy is a wild name for someone to call themselves a grandfather. Nigga, I burst. That's you'd have to know a story offline for that. But nigga,
yeah, we skipped an entire action sequence.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
I see that.
The cartel is like following him, and they get into a fucking shootout in the middle of the street.
Yeah, they
was
got
another
no
pretty solid
shootout.
action.
It was. The problem is it's 11:10 here, and I'm tired. But no, it was a good action scene, and it showed that that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, he's a good guy who follows who follows the rules, but like doesn't have a stick up his ass, and eventually he knows what he has to do, right? Like I won't say he's like a new Axel Foley. I will say he's a good cop who has to do the right. Will bend the rules a little bit to do the right thing, like an '80s cop.
Yeah. I appreciated that. While like that's a classic sort of way of handling these type of relationships in action comedy movies is like Eddie Murphy's the goofball. He's a straight laced cop. Like he is a little bit. He's obviously straight laced, but not to the point of like ridiculousness. And he also kind of proves why his daughter would have even dated this guy, right? Like he's tougher than he appears, at least in the beginning. And also, he shoots a lot of people in the head and the back. So
he's like a fucking John McClane, if you will. I can see him playing that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
There you go.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he shoots these two Mexican gentlemen and straight up murders them. They did take a moment to show you how ridiculous the Mexican cartel guys' boots were with those.
The boots,
Nigga.
Yo, I was like, come on, man.
That's the real thing.
Yo, that nigga look like a Mexican genie in those boots, yo. Like Jesus Christ.
Yo, he was an odd dude. He had on a silk Final Boss Versace shirt and shit. Like he was going all the way in. So fast forward a bit. Axel is like, look, man. Kevin Bacon is super corrupt. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, are you involved in this shit? And Taggart's like, yo, go fuck yourself. Yo, get the fuck out of my office. Like, yo, how dare you? And that's good because I don't need to see Taggart be the bad guy. That would be fucked up. And so he's clearly pissed. So so obviously, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he gets suspended. They take his badge and gun, and Axel Foley is already suspended. So it is what it is. So they go back to his apartment, and they're looking up that house or what have you on Redfin, and that's how we get to that one scene, right? they decide they obviously are not going to buy this house. They make a big joke of it, and then they're like, "No, the house is ugly." And the real estate lady is like, "Yeah, I agree. It's disgusting."
It's like, it's right.
I feel bad for that real estate lady.
No,
You're right. She said something else. When she said, "Oh, you're pregnant," he's like, "Yeah, I hope your kid's gonna turn out cool." My kid kind of sucks, you know. He's 4, but you know,
You could tell.
he sucks. I was like, "What the fuck?" You're right. You can tell. Like, God damn, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, she was a bit of a weirdo. So at that point, they find out about this this club, this exclusive sort of cartel type club, and they go in there and yeah, this shit was fucking scary and dangerous. Niggas are just walking around. The waiters don't have shirts on. People just walking around with like 12 gauge shotguns and shit. Like this is like I don't want to be there. This is it's very strange. They go to see this guy Chelino, who is sitting there and he's just singing terribly, just absolutely terribly. And Axel like plays it up and he was like, "Yeah, you gotta praise the people's performance. Like that's what they'll like." And so he starts acting like an asshole. And he's like, "Yeah, Chelino, bravo, you're amazing." Like to get his attention type of shit. And yeah, Chelino's like, "Look, yo, I will fucking kill you niggas. Yo. Like, why y'all playing?" And then they come to find out, like, "Hey, man, like your boy who is in jail, my daughter is his lawyer. Like, we trying to figure out some shit." And he's like, because it's his nephew, and so he's like, all right, I'll sit and talk to y'all. And so he talks, and basically he's like, "Look, this is what's happening. They scooped your boy up, Billy Rosewood. Like, this shit is getting crazy." So they go to leave with new information, and they get arrested in the parking lot immediately by Kevin Bacon and his evil crew of normal cops. And they say they have
the guy that arrests him is his son, the black dude. That's his son. That puts the cuffs on him.
He got tasered by his own kid. That shit's fucked. So yeah, they get arrested, and of course, Kevin Bacon like comes in. He's like, "Look, man, you know I'm dirty. I know you know I'm dirty. I don't give a fuck. Fuck these people, right? Like we're gonna go after these people. You should join up with us or whatever." And of course, he's like, "No, fuck you. I'm gonna take you down." Again, plot very thin. Bad guy talks to the guy about his plans. Somehow it's never.
Yeah, again, I'm like, why would you do that? Again.
So here's what we're gonna do next: crimes. All right, cool. All right, I'm hella into crime. I'm a crimes guy, and so Axel does something that I thought was actually very clever, and I had never seen this done in a movie before. He gets out of his handcuffs. He realizes that there's an open air duct above them, above where he is. He opens the air duct, and you think that he's climbed out. Kevin Bacon comes back in the room, climbs on the chair to look in the air duct, and actually Eddie Murphy was already in the room and just pulled the chair and he made him fucking fall and bang his head on the table and knock him out. That's pretty smart.
He's like, you watch too many movies. You're like, I'm climbing the fucking fence. Nigga, what's wrong with you? I'm 62 years old.
Like my knees hurt. But again, that is respecting the character and respecting.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that shit.
Yeah. And look, again, it was something I've never seen somebody do in a movie before. So I did appreciate it. That was funny.
Also, are vents, I got a stupid question, guys. Are vents that big? Like it doesn't,
I don't know.
it doesn't seem like something that is real.
No, you put the like the little one. It's like a little one. Like you're not gonna put a full size human size vent in the ceiling so they could try to escape in an interrogation room. That doesn't make any sense. So.
Well, I guess if it's a building, like a building,
yeah, I mean just like a regular
bigger. Like if it's a house, yeah, then the vents are smaller. But a building, yeah, I guess because every movie, like niggas be crawling through vents all the time. I'm assuming there's got to be some validity to it, right?
I mean, Batman does it in those games, so I mean, surely it can't be fake.
Yeah, that big ass nigga walking around in a cape and a full suit of armor.
This nigga is duck walking in those vents. Like, what the fuck? Like at least John McClane is fucking prone, like inching his way through. Batman is just fucking duck walking his ass over and leaping all out of the vents and shit. Like, what the fuck?
No sense of like the cartilage in your knees are going. You're like you've been fighting crime for 25 years. Get out of here. So
industrial vents, I guess.
Yeah, well,
different than residential vents.
We're asking the hard questions here. So they eventually make it to the roof because there's a helicopter on there, and we know that Bobby used to be a helicopter pilot. They mentioned that earlier, and so he stopped being one and then became just a regular cop. And so they get to the helicopter, and he's like, "Come on, fucking fly the damn thing!" And he's like, "What's your problem?" He's like, "Look, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to concentrate," which I thought was good. And it's because he got into a plane crash or a helicopter crash, and it got in his head, and so now he can't. He feels like really freaked out about flying helicopters again. By the way, flying a helicopter really fucking hard. So yeah, no thanks. Fuck that. And it looks like he is still nervous because this motherfucker's having a real hard time keeping this thing even remotely straight. So yeah, no thanks. No.
And he got a practical stunt. Looks good.
Yeah, man.
That's fine. That helicopter mad low.
You can always tell, man. You can always tell. Well, not everyone can tell, but when you've been looking at movies, for more than a day, you can tell, and you can really appreciate it.
I mean, some of it looks like it's been a little doctored, but for the most part,
of course.
They're not throwing a helicopter off the side of a building like that. That seems like a bad idea. But maybe that's where the $150 million budget was. It was a lot of helicopter budget. But yeah, a lot of this sort of low flying and shit like that is very real. Which, I don't understand this because like Hollywood has access to so much more talent for shit like this than they ever have. Why you wouldn't do it? It just looks so
because it's easier. It's easier and probably cheaper. Right? Like you don't have to insure stunt people. You don't have to employ them. You don't have to, do all this setup. You don't have to get permits and shit. Like you can just throw it in a computer.
Helicopter.
Yeah, I guess.
It just doesn't. It just. I mean, eventually it'll get to a point where it looks as good as this, and you won't really be able to tell. But yeah, the advent of CGI was obviously important to movie making, but I do like that there are some people who have just decided, like, you know what, practical just feels better. So, and it does. Things have weight to them in movies, which is a good thing. I did appreciate that when Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is like freaking out, Eddie Murphy just smacks him across his face. Is like, get it together, like fly the fucking out. So yeah, that's a pretty good action sequence, and they end up landing the.
He also points his gun at him, like fly this fucking helicopter. Like what the fuck?
No, bro, I'm already nervous. Like relax. They do end up having a hard landing in a private golf course, and shout out to the movie Happy Gilmore. They run into Shooter McGavin playing fucking golf. And I feel like he's still playing the same character he played like 25 years ago. And so he basically like Axel bullshits him, and he's like, "Yo, there's a lady in that helicopter. You're like, y'all got to help that lady. Like, come help that lady. She in a helicopter." And then they just steal their golf cart and just ride away. So, yet I believe this is the third gag of them riding a very slow vehicle as people are chasing them, or shooting at them. So there you go. And then you get a nigga on nigga moment, which I thought was pretty good.
This was fucking hilarious.
This shit was funny.
Affion Crockett. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's like, can we get a car? He was like, you just want me to give you a car? Yeah. Like, no, nigga, fuck off. Like, no, I'm not giving you one. And then they just have like this hilarious back and forth. It's like, oh, I'm gonna let you take a car. And then what happens to me? I gotta feed my fucking kids. Like,
He's like, what did he say? I got a Labradoodle and I need a hip replacement. That's $25,000. Like, okay,
$43,000.
or for something crazy like that.
So yeah, it's like a real nigga moment, which is really funny. And then the second somebody, I love that he's like, "Oh, I'm your brother. What? Are we at a cookout, nigga? What?" Yo, he was so it was great. And then some white woman is like, "Hey, I need your help." And he's like, he puts on this like fucking ridiculous British accent, like, "Oh, hello, Mrs. Weinstein. I'll be right over." It's like, oh,
He's like, that's called code switching. No, you one of them code switching niggas, huh? That shit was funny though. Again, it's just the way he said that shit had me cracking up.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good scene. I appreciated that. And it's a good sort of fun moment after this action sequence and stuff like that. It's like well timed. So then like they find themselves like stealing another truck, and there's another sequence as after they help out, they rescue Billy, who was I guess at the docks, also at the docks. They grab him up and they kill a couple of the people who were holding him hostage. Yes, it was in fact at the docks, by the way. And the three of them, Bobby, Billy, and Axel, they stole one of the trucks that has all these statues that have cocaine in them, which is a little crazy.
Before all that, Jane gets kidnapped.
Oh yes, you're right.
Yeah. So and then they go to the docks and shenanigans.
So yeah, so they end up going to bursting into this house where Jane is being kept. And again, it's another good sequence. They literally drive the truck straight through the fucking front door. Billy's crazy ass, of course, gets the first machine gun he can get his hands on. Taggart, he shows up with a revolver like that and a shotgun. I believe he had a shotgun in the first movie. Like that was his gun of choice when they opened up Billy's trunk and he had all his fucking guns. So yeah, a nice part of the original movie. Bobby continues headshotting people, which, you know, again, very appreciated. Taggart eventually.
Yeah, Bobby's a really good shot, guys.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's kind of
like what the fuck, yo? Like it's I get tropes and shit, but like this nigga's got a 1.0 KDR, yo. Like
it's very tough. That's fun. So yeah, Taggart eventually gets to where Billy is, and it's a nice kind of callback of like these characters fighting alongside each other once again. So again, hitting the nostalgia button pretty hard.
My wife, or didn't slip. My wife, when Taggart handed when she handed Billy that snub nose, like I guess is a 38. She was like, "What's he gonna do with that?" I'm like, "That'll do nothing." I'm like, "Well, you know, it is a gun. It's better than nothing."
She had
like, "What's the point?"
Moment like, the fuck you gonna do with that little thing? Yeah, he pulled out that snub gun, shot that nigga right in the chest and then right in the head immediately. To quote Taggart, Jesus Christ, Billy, like what the fuck is going on? Yeah, and then at one point, Bobby, being a very good shot, just shoots a woman straight in the neck. He murdered her, yo. It's like, all right, well, very harsh. But yeah, and it's a pretty good shootout. I mean, look, it's very reminiscent of the shootout at the end of Bad Boys 3, honestly. They just didn't crash a helicopter in the middle of the house. That's the only difference. You've got your one team on an upper floor, and there's like columns all around. Team on the lower floor. I mean, it does feel like they watched that movie and were like, "Here's what we're gonna do, and here's what we're not gonna do." So, okay.
Now, quick question, because again, plot's very thin. They get into this shootout, right? They're in this house, and at this point, everybody knows that what's his name?
Cad Grant.
Kevin Bacon. Cad Cade Grant. What the fuck? Like, anyway, he's a bad guy. There's a shootout. Suppose the bad guys won the shootout and they killed all of the cops. What then? He gets the SD card and all that other stuff. What happens then?
He gets to continue his 80s crime ways.
Yeah. Does he? He just murdered a bunch of cops.
No, the cartel did it. The cartel did it.
Meanwhile,
okay. Nah. How can and also how can the aliens hear this but not that? Like, don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Doesn't matter. I was just like, so what's going to happen if you win, my nigga? Like, what are you going to do? Just walk out the house? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what's going to happen. Like, you're going to murder.
He's going to go to,
and then
he's going to go to the meeting that he has with other characters with stupid names, like Calum Drift.
I mean, fair enough. So at a certain point, everybody is like, you got Axel Foley standing toe to toe with Cad Grant. They both got their guns drawn. There's another guy on the outside of the room on the balcony circling around. Axel doesn't see him, which is odd as a cop who's been on the force for 45 fucking years. Didn't notice. And you know, he's calling out for Jane. Where's Jane? Where's Jane? He's like, hey, man, what are we doing here, baby? Like, we're both cops. Just a couple of lonely old cops, right? Like, no, you kidnapped my daughter. Like, we're not friends. I don't like your ass. And so he's like, look, put the gun down. Cad is like, all right, you got me, which should be a sign. Like, yeah, you both got guns drawn. Like, no, I'm not gonna put my gun down. Fuck out of here. He puts the gun down, and the henchman that had been circling behind him, he comes out to shoot Axel. Jane sees the guy, and she shoots that guy in the back. And immediately, Cade goes to shoot Jane. He picks his gun up off the table, and he goes to shoot. Bobby comes out, or yeah. Axel jumps in the way, gets shot in the chest because he jumps to save his daughter. He takes a bullet. Jane's about to get shot, and here comes Bobby through the door. Boom, headshot. Fucking death streak. Amazing. Just amazing. Well, he shot him directly.
I think you have a tactical nuke at this point, right?
Right.
After that.
15 kill streak? What does that give you?
Oh, shit. That's funny.
It's insane. And so Axel is down. Taggart and Billy, they survived. And Kevin Bacon has been murdered. Meanwhile, Bobby's fine. Didn't take a
getting cut, nothing.
Or nothing. Like, nobody cut his Achilles heel. Nothing happened. And then they watch as a gurney is being loaded into the back of an ambulance with Axel Foley on it. And so his daughter is very sad, and he looks like Mr. Church laying up there. So is he going to make it? And here's the thing. He makes it out just fine. So it's literally nothing to be worried about. It didn't even feel like you should be worried, even for like a quarter of a second. It was like,
he got shot in the shoulder.
Yeah. Was it shoulder, or I thought he got shot in the chest?
It was the shoulder.
It was very clearly his shoulder. It was very clearly his shoulder. And it was just like, oh, all right, well, it's a movie. He gonna make it. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, who the fuck dies from a shoulder shot?
Right, nobody does.
The ambulance was there within seconds. This nigga wasn't bleeding out for 45 minutes. Like, they weren't in a weird remote hotel in the middle of Mexico City where nobody goes. No, it was just in Beverly Hills. So yeah, Axel is fine, and he's so fine that he walks his ass in his hospital gown, wearing his Detroit Lions jacket. He walks over to Norm's, a local diner, to get himself a burger. And his daughter was like, meets him over there. Is like, I figured you would probably be here. and they rebond and they have their little moment. And he's like, "Look, this is not easy for me to say, but you were right. You were, even though we're both adults now, I was the adult and you were the child, or I was, I'm the parent and you're the child, and that's how it always has to be. And I was wrong and I was fucked up, which is the thing people should say to their kids when they fuck up. I don't think my dad's listening to the podcast. I'm just saying." This is personal for me.
You should, if you fuck up, you should apologize regardless of what the relationship is. Like, I don't know why people can't just say my bad. God damn.
Nah, yo.
Even if you don't really mean it. Even if you don't really mean it.
If I don't mean that shit, I'm not saying it. Fuck out of here. No.
No. Look, it depends on what it is, right? Like, if I just got to get through the rest of my day. All right, whatever.
You are the one that says you tell whatever the people, whatever they want to hear.
This is a fucked up response. I just lied. Oh, you don't really mean
just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Yes, fine. You're right. Shut up. That's it. And this has nothing to do with that Freudian slip I made earlier.
That is I can't do that. If I didn't do anything wrong, I'm not apologizing for shit I didn't do. Fuck you.
No,
we're just gonna have to be mad at each
other. That is a place I have grown, because sometimes you do have to, like, you just got to just get over the hump. I understand that, but I got a real personal problem and apologize. Look, I might have been wrong, but if I think I'm right, that's a hard road for me to run, because I really enjoy being right. Like, I do. It's a kink of mine. So yeah, I don't like to.
The fuck?
I don't like it. I have two kinks: being right and kink shaming. Those are my two things I'm really into. So yeah, he gets a burger. Everything is good. He makes up with his daughter. Black families reunited. Then we see Billy and Taggart. They're in a car. They're supposed to be watching the hospital to make sure that Axel is okay. They don't even pay attention that the fact that Axel got out of the hospital and walked right over to their car and got in. They're like, you guys are the worst fucking surveillance team of all time. And
also, I mean, right before this, when the two of them, when the father and the daughter are leaving the restaurant, this shit really irked me, Like, there's a crosswalk right there. Like, why the fuck are you jaywalking, Why the fuck are you jaywalking? Like, it's right there. And you jaywalking on the red, on the green, nigga. Like, what the fuck? Like, you begging to get hit. And you walking around like you running for office over there. Decrepit, got a black woman carrying your ass, helping you to the podium and shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, yo. Like, what is going on? There was a crosswalk right there. That shit just annoyed me.
He's a cop. He's still a cop, man. And they think they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Really believe in laws.
God damn.
Laws for me. Yeah, so in a perfect throwback to the original movie, Axel in the back seat, giving Billy and Taggart a fucking hard time in the front. And he's like, look, man, let's just, like, come on, man, let's go get something to eat. Like, fuck all this. They're like, no, you're supposed to stay in the hospital. He's like, come on, man. Like, come on, Billy. Like, let's come on, let's go. Let's fuck this. Let's go do something. And Taggart's like, yo, don't do that, Billy. Don't fucking go anywhere. And Billy turns around, he's like, I'm already gonna do it anyway. Like come on, man. And Taggart's like, you know what? Fuck it.
Do it anyway.
Yeah, I love that song. Like that meme is hilarious. But Taggart's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go get a porterhouse. Let's just go get a steak. Which sounds really good right now. And
that nigga look like if he eat a porterhouse, he gonna fucking die.
If any of these, the three of them better share that fucking porterhouse. You all that red meat. Get out of here. And so fade to black. End of movie. So yeah, look, man. It worked for me. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I really thought Jay was gonna have a problem with this movie. I really did. But you proved me wrong. This was a fun movie. This was a movie that could have been in theaters, and you could have recouped some of that $150 million budget.
Yo, that's.
But
I think it would have done it too. I think word of mouth would have got people to come out to see this fucking movie.
yeah.
I mean, what did
100%.
the last Bad Boys movie do? Like, that did pretty well, didn't it?
40 million on it?
400 million?
Something like that.
I mean, this is hitting on the same, this is sort of hitting in the same audience. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah, and I think this is a better movie. I don't know if people would think. I don't know if the general audience would say this is a better movie, because
it's dumb.
Bad Boys have more action, better action. $336 million on a $100 million budget is what Bad Boys Ride or Die did.
I mean, look.
So yeah,
here's the thing: Bad Boys Ride or Die, 97% audience Rotten Tomato score, 97. So, I mean, seems like people would, but they only gave it 78% for this one. So, I don't know. I feel like I feel like it could have made its money back.
It probably could have eventually, but it is what it is. I didn't have to pay for it, and I enjoyed myself. That's the only thing that matters.
All right. That is it for us for episode 264. We will be back with a preview episode next week for episode 265. Later, guys.
See ya.
Bye. You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.